That was a good one. Cheers. Welcome in, no punts allowed. Paige here with Kramer. It's been a week. And it's only Wednesday.
I love college football, Paige. That last weekend, we record midweek, right? And by the time you listen to us, maybe people have oh wow, I'm thinking about other games that haven't happened. I can't get over Saturday still.
Yeah.
That was majestic.
I was in shock. We did a live stream with Bleacher Report on the AP poll, and it was kind of weird to react in real time to that poll because so much changed. We sort of were going into it going, oh, nothing's really going to change. We'll do the live stream on Sunday. There's not going to be a lot to talk about, not a lot of movement because it's not really a big week yet. I mean, obviously we knew Texas-Alabama was going to be a big game, but we didn't expect Notre Dame, Texas A&M, even Bama to have some rough goes of it.
It also was a good reminder, by the way, nice sweatshirt like this. We're doing our game day upset with Municipal and carnage in the upset front. Carnage with people picking upsets, and there was some doozies. But first and foremost, Paige, I am a golf shirt aficionado. I've mentioned this before. It's what I wear. This is my entire. I am wearing my Municipal gear here. Here's what I like, the change with this. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, which you should be, you've got the filling in at the top, right? So if you want to play some golf and then go immediately afterwards to drink beers or eat a steak, which some of us tend to do in sequence, this is for me. This is very soft. Me. This is like cuddling me. I need a cuddle today. And this shirt is cuddling me.
The fact that they have comfy stuff like this sweatshirt, okay, to wear when you're cuddling, but you're talking about a golf shirt being something you want to cuddle in.
Oh, this is warming my soul. Yeah. Yes.
Very on brand for you. So municipal.com.
Yes.
No punts 20.
Yeah. I'm also wearing the shorts, but I can't figure out a good way to show the shorts without it being awkward. I can't.
That's actually right. They're actually sending us some new stuff. So this weekend, I will say before next episode, we will drop a
unboxing? Can I do an unboxing? I've always wanted to do an unboxing.
Okay,
episode.
So we're going to do an unboxing. Kramer's going to do an unboxing. Yes. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to do an OOTD TikTok.
Yes, okay. I'm in. Yeah,
okay.
I've always wanted to do
Bama
an
Rush
unboxing.
style.
Yeah.
Bama Rush style. So we're going to do that.
I'm probably not going to be very good at an unboxing because I'll just be like, ooh, look. Ew, it's nice. I'm ooh, this is also nice. I'm not, people are going to be like, oh, this is their, the style. And I will try and do some of that. Because Municipal has some really cool, unique things. But I'm going to just be like a kid in the candy store, oh my God, look at this. This is great. So yes, I'm excited for my first unboxing as an adult, like a child.
As an adult. As an influencer.
As an influencer.
Hashtag influencer.
I can't say that with a straight face, but
I'm so proud of you. But
so we will talk game day upset in a little bit because this could be another weird week. So let's bask back into the chaos a little bit. What was the weirdest upset for you? Because I don't know. Texas Alabama was super weird, but what was the weirdest thing that happened after that?
Well, seeing as I put a future on Notre Dame to make the playoff, I feel like that one hurt the most. But I think Texas A&M to me was the surprising one.
Yeah. Let's start there because you could go with either of those and be right. So
that's why I picked those.
Jim, that's a non-answer answer. So Jimbo keeps kind of doing this thing. And then each time he does this thing, I kind of say, but when they get talent, and then he does the thing. And I forget who said it, but there's a really interesting, he gets this really good talent and develops some of it, but there's just something cohesively, especially on offense, that's just not working. It's just not. And they've got some dudes. So at what point, I was reading about this contract, this week, I got into the Jimbo wormhole. So he got that huge deal. They extended him. It's all guaranteed. He's basically owed $95 million right now.
God.
And I'm not saying you're going to fire him. We're not doing that. He's recruiting. They're going to be fine. But kind of like, I don't know, Saban with Lane Kiffin, like they need to do a shock to the system. And that offense has always been viewed as very complicated. Like you go back to Jameis, like they need to change. Like you saw Saban really kind of own it up and say, I can't do this anymore. Like the Derrick Henry ball is not going to work.
Yeah.
A&M has got to do something different because it's not meshing over an entirety of a season. And yet again, they could beat Bama. They're going to beat some good teams again. Like not all hope is lost, but that you can't lose that game.
No, you can't, especially if you want to be taken seriously as a playoff contender. That's the big thing is like every year we hear Texas A&M fans get mad that they're not getting enough respect, but it's like this is what people are talking about is like you have the talent. No one is questioning that you've recruited and used that system to its benefit, but you can't lose this. You cannot take a loss this early it's funny because like I sort of expected it from Notre Dame. Like, yeah, obviously that I did not expect them to lose to Marshall, but
no.
I expected that they would stumble at some point and disappoint at some point. That's just the nature of Notre Dame. It's like everyone is always like, oh, they get too much credit. They get too much credit. And to be fair, sometimes that is accurate. In this case, it is. But Texas A&M, I feel like we were giving them too much credit because look at where we are. So yeah. I'm curious to see how these next few weeks go for them. Because if you don't recover big and blow teams out, there's no question that you will not make the playoff because this is early and there's potential for it to be there, but to me it's completely ruined at this point.
And Notre Dame, by the way, so you lose at home, you lose your quarterback, starting quarterback. Marcus Freeman has yet to win a game, 0-3.
Yeah,
the vibes are not good. Again, a team with a bunch of talent, but we were talking about USC and Clemson as like, okay, these are the games that Notre Dame's going to have to win. We need to start talking about all the other games now, right?
Yeah.
North Carolina. There's a series at Stanford, who terrible pick by me last week. There's a series of games on the schedule that, like, at this point, if you're Notre Dame, like, you got to recalibrate a little bit and say, okay, like, get one, because now all of a sudden, you talk about changing the expectations of the season. Like, my goodness, that was a shocking one as well.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult, and I think there is an expectation there. And again, I mean, we've talked about this, although it's not the case at LSU. Brian Kelly is a really good coach. Yep. And they had sustained success at Notre Dame for a while, whether it be by Notre Dame standards or SEC standards, because according to SEC standards, it's not successful. But to be fair, they were a successful football program. And but yeah, I think it's going to take a little bit of time there, and we're going to see them fall a little bit, but I don't think it'll be for years to come. I think it's just like, okay. And I don't think they're going to jump to fire him and all of that stuff. I think we're all right for now. Yeah. But yeah, just kind of a shock to the system. But the whole weekend was a shock to the system, it felt like, because we came on this podcast and we're like, uh-oh, poor Sark, poor Texas. They are going to struggle against Alabama, and it's going to be brutal. And that was not the case. Alabama basically tried everything to lose that game. Everything in the book. But then, of course, it came down, Heisman winner, having a Heisman moment, 2-minute drill, gets it done. It is what it is. Wins are wins. No participation trophies for Texas. You're not back, but you are on your way there.
Yeah, so... holy shit, takeaways galore. Notice I haven't been swearing in the pod, by the way. I'm trying to be better. Trying to work on myself. From the Texas side, yes. My immediate takeaway is Quinn Ewers is good. Like, really good, potentially. Like, that was so disappointing to see that, because I like watching him play. Different arm angles. He can sling it. Like, really, that was, if he doesn't get hurt, and we're doing the same thing we did with Colt McCoy, like, things are different. Ooh. Which is a shame. So that part is tough. Texas did a lot of really good things. The offensive line held up, which is a bit of a surprise. Will Anderson did not have a good game. Like, that's probably the worst game we've seen him have. And then on the Alabama side page, we need to caution all Alabama reaction.
Okay.
Because after the Auburn game last year, it was like Alabama's going to get worked in the SEC championship. Like that Auburn game was this Texas game, in my opinion. Down the entire time, not playing well. Bryce Young does something magic. They have a couple of great catches. They beat Auburn. They get to the national championship. Same thing could happen. I will say, the wide receivers don't look great. The offensive line doesn't look great. The secondary didn't look great. They can be better. But if you're like chalking up the Alabama like yikes moments, like there's definitely something to be concerned about here.
So you're not at all on the Georgia is gonna rock Alabama bandwagon?
It's so early. Like they have holes, and if you're a fan of Alabama, you're like, where are we getting some receiving help? Because they've got some guys that are out too. Dre Burton has not been involved like at all. Like there's just some things with Alabama right now that's really interesting. I do know this: Jahmyr Gibbs is great. I'm surprised they're not utilizing him more. I know they were speculating on the broadcast that maybe it's pass protection because when they seem to throw to that dude, like good things happen. But when your running back leads you in receptions, that's also probably not a great thing either. Yeah. So I think it's a mixed bag, but I'm not panicking. We're not going to do this with Alabama, right? Like, yep. We're just going to chill like we normally would. So are you panicking? You're the resident Alabama homer on the pod. Sorry, not sorry. What's your state?
No, because I know that if there's a coach that's going to get the best out of these kids, I mean, penalties alone it's not even just like play. Like they could have played average and been fine and still won that game and not been a little concerned. The penalties really was what killed them. So I'm glad that it obviously ended in them winning because that would have been a not so great loss. And it just was a harder path to get where like I think they should be. But yeah, I wasn't like overthinking it. They ended up winning. Like I said, W's are W's. We don't give out participation trophies for almost. Although I will say, for my Baylor Bears, I will give them credit. What a crazy game to cap off the night really was. I watched the Arizona game after though, so it wasn't my last game. But
I did too.
BYU and Baylor, overtime, missed field goals, just shenanigans. Also, sweating out that bet. I mean, you obviously came out on the winning end of it, but I did not, and I was very upset. But I thought it was over a lot of times, so I did enjoy the thought of getting hope back multiple times during that game. But heck of a performance from both teams. I am not upset with that loss. I think that's a quality loss. See, I'm already lauding the CFB playoff committee. Quality lost in a hostile environment. What other things can I say? Overtime, pushed them limit. Yeah.
No, it was a great game. Like, but I'll say, like, never a comfortable game is a better on either side. Never fun. It was a great game. And I'm interested to see what the impact of that game might have on actually this week. I'll talk about that later. But not a fun game to be involved in because it just felt like something was going to go wrong for either team at both time. I'm still not sure how good both of those teams are. It's early. So like this is one of those games where the takeaway could be, holy shit, like both those teams are really good, or maybe not. But I know it was fun. The play seemed pretty high quality. BYU, like post Zach Wilson, they have Hall. They're like, it's pretty amazing the trajectory of that program. Like you're heading now to a major conference, like that's a program that feels like it is gonna keep moving forward. Yeah, like, they have really got something good going there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we have to talk about this because there are many teams that we support on this podcast.
Oh, no.
And you in particular are a Nebraska homer / supporter because your best friend essentially is a Nebraska fan, and they of course fired Scott Frost. It ended in a way that some of us knew it would, but walk me through a little bit of your thought process now that it's officially happened And I mean, you really did think it was going to get better this year, right?
So this is perfect. I don't usually record the pod here. Again, if you're on YouTube, you see it. This is where I watch football games. So behind me, I've got the 3 TVs. You can't see all 3. Let's do a little tilt there, right? So we got all 3. Got the PS5 there, no big deal. So on the TV closest to me was the Nebraska game on Saturday night. Was done writing, so I was partaking in the old drink department a little bit. UFC was on. It was wonderful. Jason was sitting in the couch over here next to me, and we were watching that game, and it was unbelievable. I believe Nebraska gave up like 642 yards of offense.
That was a lot.
And the replays were like the gaping holes, like the receivers caught everything. Yeah. Like it was bad. It was time. So I think the big part of this that was most surprising was the timing. Yes. Because instead of saving, they could have saved $7.5 million if they waited 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is.
Yeah, 2.5.
And they just said, screw it, we're going to pay the whole thing. They didn't do a buyout.
Yeah.
That part is wild to me because your season, really, you get a head start on the coaching search, but you would have gotten a head start anyway. So I was surprised by the timing of this. I don't know if you were at all. That caught me when that came through. It was like, oh my God, like that. They are not messing around. And again, I get why you would pull the trigger other than the financial component.
Yeah, it seems like they only pulled the trigger. They're like, oh, we'll waste this $7.5 million to save a little face. Like, yes. They were like, we don't want to look like we're weak and won't fire him, but like, hey, save yourself some money because you're going to have to pay for another coach to come in. And it was strange. And I mean, obviously it needed to happen, but I feel like you could have waited. Maybe it was a respect thing, but also like, I mean, I really wish I was in the business of being a fired head coach because let me tell you.
$15 million. And he will get another job, by the way.
Coach was 17. Yeah. Like, yeah. I want to live that life is really what I'm saying about that. But yeah, no, I was sad. I think I texted you and I was like, is Jason okay?
It was a mix. There was an assortment of feelings going on. I don't want to do the who's going to get this job thing.
No.
Here, but I do want to say this. It's a really interesting time for A, because they got a really early head start, and B, like, Scott Frost, I thought was the perfect hire. Like, it was, like, he's UCF, he was great. Like, this was a no-brainer, can't-fail hire. Like, Harbaugh at Michigan, which, honestly, has actually kind of turned out,
it's turned out okay, but it was not okay for a while. Oh, yeah. But that's the thing. This took some time, and it didn't turn out the Harbaugh way.
It did not turn out the Harbaugh way. Even, God, Harbaugh's best years before last year, Scott Frost would have absolutely killed for. Like, those would have been, like, job-saving years for them. So I don't want to go down the candidates. Jason does. Jason, I know. I hear you. We're going to talk about this weekend.
I hear you. I see
you. But I'm just curious what this job interest gets. They have a ton of money. It's Nebraska still.
Who doesn't have a ton of money? I mean, seriously.
That's fair. But I am curious, like, what the interest is. I think it may be significant. Like, I think it'll be better than a lot of people think.
I do want to say the, like, homegrown hire thing is getting a little tired. I do think you can be successful without doing that. Like, this sounds lame because it's not like a huge football program, but the Arizona Wildcats look a lot better this year than they did last year, and we hired someone that a lot of people were like not entirely excited about because alumni wise they're like, this isn't one of our guys, but he's brought in a ton of people to be part of that. So I think maybe hiring someone that's like well connected that can get Nebraska football alumni back in there and sort of help with that and not be technically in charge of it, and make the environment a little more structured, and then have the aspect of, okay, here's the history, here's what you're playing for, all of those things from the people that aren't necessarily making the really big decisions in terms of play, if that makes sense.
So you're saying like hiring in the family, like your offensive coordinator son, like maybe at a certain Iowa football program, like maybe not The greatest thing. Also, when you started segueing to, and here's Adam's shit football team, like you have an assortment to pick from right now.
I do, but I wasn't going to bring it up. I actually left it off the dock completely because I just wasn't going to bring it up. I was like, you know what?
I have no further comments on Iowa at this time.
Okay, I will say...
Other than, I'm sorry, I do have a comment. How did they not make a quarterback change? Like, how, like, what is going on here? Like I don't want to rip. I don't like ripping on college kids. I don't. Special Petros. I don't. People are saying like really nasty things on social media. That's terrible. Don't do that. Please don't be an idiot. Like, but it's not working. This is college athletics. How they could not at least try someone different at this point is like, it's mind blowing to me that they wouldn't try and make a change. But again, don't talk shit to kids, college kids. Like, don't be a douchebag.
Yeah.
That's like my other rant on this page.
Of the day.
Yes.
I totally agree with that. Michigan is changing quarterbacks from the one that they had last year.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy is now their starting quarterback. Thoughts? I mean, we've kind of talked about this ad nauseum, but I will say I did read an article about how we're gonna see more coaches make decisions like this on quarterbacks where like they'll wait because they don't want them to transfer, and also like if one graduates and then you have the opportunity to have the other one around, like you want that. So, and I mean it's partially I understand it. Like I feel like you should let kids go where they want to go, but the other part of it is like you do have to run a program. You do have a lot of like you have to think years in advance a little bit with this transfer portal stuff and everything like that. So I get it a little bit. And I know people, including myself, were annoyed about him not picking a quarterback, especially because I feel like everybody knew that this was the decision he was going to make all along. But I'm glad that we have JJ named, good to go, and now I'm ready to see how this Michigan offense is going to start moving forward.
He's a super fun player. Like even against Georgia last year when he got in, because that game spiraled, he wasn't great, but like you saw some things like, oh my God, this is one of the most explosive players that this program has had since probably, Denard Robinson. Like seriously, I think he's got that kind of ability. Obviously the schedule has been an atrocity, and it is what it is, but this week they are a 47-point favorite. Last week they were a 50-point favorite against Hawaii, and then they played Colorado State. He's played great. It'll be interesting to see when he heats up, but look, it's too early to tell. Again, schedule masks a lot of this.
Yeah.
I do think though he has some signs of being really, really good. So makes sense. Yeah. Like McNamara in the first game probably just it wasn't working for whatever reason. And this can't be easy on these guys, by the way. Like this is an unorthodox QB battle to have them been playing out here. Like I don't envy that position for either of those guys. But this is obviously the right call.
Yeah, and that can affect guys if you have an unorthodox QB situation and then you lose to the Bears in week 1. That could certainly happen to people.
Yeah. That by the way, I wasn't at the game. No, but real quick, I already called them San Fran to you like earlier in the week, and I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry. It rained as hard as I've ever seen it rain here during that. I know people that were at that game, and they're like, somebody I saw, their wallet was still soggy yesterday, like from that game. I mean, it was unbelievable. So yes, we don't have to talk about that. We talked about Iowa.
Gross game. But no, for Michigan, I'm excited because they don't have the defense that they have had last year. So I completely understand that they're going to have to rely a little bit more on their offense this year, and it's going to be a different team. So I'm excited that they've made this decision and we can sort of actually learn what Michigan's going to look like.
Who we can talk about, though, is your Kansas Jayhawks 2-0, about ready to cash that win total.
First of all, that was complete sarcasm on Kramer's part because I did not pick them to win more than 2 games.
I know, that's why they're your.
Yeah, well, the other thing is that they are at the top of the Big 12 technically right now because they are. Because they're the only ones that have played a head-to-head conference game. So congratulations for this 1 week to the Kansas Jayhawk football fans who are probably still celebrating a national championship in college basketball. But wow, that is never something that I thought would be a thing. So here we are.
So in all seriousness, there's a couple takeaways here. They are playing at Houston this week, who's a really good team.
Yeah.
And they're only an 8.5-point dog. They were a
Mm-hmm.
10-point dog. Kansas has got action. I actually kind of liked Houston, and now I'm a little spooked that they're moving the line this way. Like,
you need to not be spooked, because have you looked at the lines this week? Have you looked at the lines this week?
I am really struggling with the old point spreads this week.
I am very confused about what football people are watching. There's easy money to be made this week.
Oh no.
Easy money to be made. I'm not even worried. I had a good weekend. I had a much better weekend.
Here's my thing about Kansas. And actually this gets back to your original point, which is don't make the cute hire that has like the rah-rah pennants in their bedroom from when they were like a 19-year-old. Lance Leopold came from Buffalo. And I thought it was a great hire at the time because, like, who the hell was Kansas going to get? He was a good coach there. Like, all right, I am going to do. If you're Nebraska, hire this dude because he's a good football coach. It's not Urban Meyer. It's not Matt Campbell. I think this would be a great hire for
the
Nebraska.
love of God, do not hire Urban Meyer. I'm just going to say that second.
Yeah.
You went from being, like, Kansas fans' favorite person, where you're like, and then you're like, take our coach. Take our coach.
Yeah.
That was a quick 180.
This is the problem. This is the problem when you're like, you're doing good things. But the thing about Kansas is they're getting some respect from the odds makers, which is sadly how I validate like my football opinions sometimes. Mm-hmm. And but it's fun. This is why I love college football. Kansas, Syracuse, Rutgers 2-0, Notre Dame 0-2.
Yeah.
The sport is completely and utterly crazy.
To put a bow on week 2,
second beer.
So you mid-pod crack. That's how you know.
I know.
You tweeted out that you would like to have beers with Sam Pittman based on some of his post-game interviews that he's had the last couple of weeks, and said on the pod that we are going to make a list. So we are, in fact, going to tell you the 5 coaches that we would like to current college football coaches that we would like to have beers with, or another drink that we actually. Yeah,
you don't have to have beers.
Yes,
but okay. Can I tell you, Paige? This was a harder list than I thought it would be to make. Because most coaches, actually, I don't think I'd want to have a beer with. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm like, no. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I won't turn down a beer. Like Ryan Day. I would have a beer with Ryan Day. Do I think it'd be a great beer? Probably not.
I feel like he could be sneaky funny.
I'd love to tap into his football brain. Like that's most of these guys. Who can I give you my almost made the cut? Venables. Venables almost made the cut for me because I've interviewed him, and I think he's just wired. Like I don't know. I think it'd be overwhelming. That was on the maybe list.
You are better. Like if we could explain us in social settings, Kramer is much better at the like awkwardly tense situations. He doesn't make too far of a joke. Like when I'm tense and awkward, I make jokes. I'm like Chandler. I make jokes when I'm uncomfortable. It's true. It's true. And you're just so much better about like rolling past it and just like moving with it. And I feel like with him, I would just feel so awkward because he's so serious that I just like wouldn't know what to do. So, with that being said, will you please give us the 5 current college football coaches that you would like to have a beer with?
Okay. I got to make sure I did 5. I did do 5. Number 5 for me is Brett Bielema. I've not talked to him in a while, but when he was in the Wisconsin circuit, like, Brett's funny. Bert, as I have him in the doc.
Yeah.
I know he coaches Illinois now. I feel like with Brett Bielema, you're going to talk some shit about people and maybe get into a fight. And, buddy, I'm okay with both of those things, as long as I'm not actually getting in a fight with anyone, because that would not be good. But being as a bystander, sure. Jimbo. I'm going to go actually to speed this up, because I don't want to talk too long. Jimbo and Nick Saban are both on my list. These are scrappy, West Virginia. Talk about fight. Like, I think that Jimbo would be different than Saban. And Jimbo, I think I don't know if you could understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
Hopefully he would slow it down a little bit, maybe after a beer or two. I think Nick Saban would just be a fascinating case study. But my number two, my 1 and 2 were very easy. And you could put them in any order. I'm going to switch the order I have in the doc. Sam Pittman, number 2, him saying he wanted to have a cold beer. I just feel like that guy, like a patio or like a fire, like a bonfire. You and Sam Pittman, like just sitting out there, I don't know, just hanging out, looking at the lake or something. Just don't need to talk football. Just listen to that guy talk. Dana Holgerson, number 1.
Okay.
Night's probably going to get weird. And that's okay. Or not. Like, who knows with Dana? Dana Holgerson, to me, is my clear number 1. So there's my top 5. Now, please proceed with yours. I think there's a little crossover.
There's a little bit of crossover, but I will explain my answer. So first and foremost, I just went with Shane Beamer because he seems like a really nice guy. Like, he seems like he's paying for the beers. He's a nice guy. Night's not going to get too weird. It's going to be fun. And we both have poured mayonnaise on our head. So I feel like we'd bond. You know, like, I think that would be a fun conversation between the two of us to discuss that. But he's all in, and I feel like he's like a young, exciting coach. So I feel like that'd be a fun one to hang out with. Another person, I'm going to go with Clay Helton. And here's why.
Almost made my list.
Because he deserves a beer, okay? That man, not only is he the coach of Georgia State, but he was obviously at USC. And USC, I think the AD and president both congratulated him this weekend. And, like, to go from being fired from a job to have people respect you and still reach out to you and just have a good relationship with people. And also, they gave him chance after chance after chance and to really fix that program, that I'm thinking that, like, there has to be something about him that people really love and care about him. So I'm curious to sit down and talk to him because I feel like one deserves a beer after years of dealing with USC fans and the harassment, even though he really didn't do anything that wrong. I mean, you gotta win games, but still, I feel like that would be a good person to be like, hey, buddy, beer's on me because you seem like a great dude.
Real quick, I almost picked him too because I have heard from people that he is truly, like, too nice for this profession.
Okay.
That have talked to him. Like, genuinely is a really good guy.
Okay.
And you don't hear that about a lot of people.
No,
I just think it would be very pleasant, normal conversation.
Yes.
Like, belly up, Budweiser's, like, hey, Clay, like, what do you think of, like, the deer head on the wall? Like, that's what I think the conversation would be.
I feel like you would tell him about, like, your kids, and he'd be like, so, how's Olivia? Like, 10 years later, and you're like, oh my God, how does he remember my daughter's name? So, yeah, Clay Helton, you're definitely on the list.
I like it.
I went with Lincoln Riley, and here's why. Because remember, before the year started, I mean, we saw his wine cellar at his house in LA.
That's a good call.
I would like to have wine at the Lincoln Riley residence. Like, please invite me. I will babysit your kids and we can have wine after when you and the wife get home from the date. I don't care. However we manage it, I would like to enjoy that wine cellar. That's all I'm saying.
I like the angle on that. It's original, it's creative. I'm in. Thank you.
The next one is Lane Kiffin, but that's just because I feel like he would tell you stuff. Like, obviously stuff I would never repeat because I just wouldn't want to be associated with spreading those things. But I feel like he would be a really fun person to have a conversation with because he'd tell you some stuff about people that most people would not share because it's the brotherhood of college football coaches.
I have a weird, like, Lane was on my list, but I've talked to Lane enough now. This is not a humble brag, but, like, I feel like we didn't have beers, but I feel like now I get it. Like, I'm like, he would be fun. You would get some story time with Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
And you can't go wrong with
we could do hot yoga first because I know he's big into hot yoga or hot Pilates or whatever he does, and then we'll go get beers afterwards. That's always the smart decision. And then last and final answer, of course, Nick Saban. Here's the kicker, though. I would like to have a beer with Nick, but also with Kristen because Kristen is my friend, and we have drank with Kristen before, and we know it's a good time. I would love to be there, and I know Nick has like a two beer rule, so he's not going to get too crazy.
That's the rule for Nick?
Yeah.
That's actually very smart. Yeah, I mean...
But I also feel like it would be so fun to sit there and watch him just see the ridiculousness that is Kristen and I.
Nick's two beer rule's got to be a public, like you're at an event rule, right? Like...
No, I think he just doesn't, like, drink that much. I don't think it's a public...
I'm literally having 2 beers right now. That's where I'm feeling a not great about myself, if I'm being completely honest. Like,
you're still fine though. But no, I think it's just a general rule for him that it's like two beers. But I think it's mostly because he doesn't like. I can't imagine he enjoys really being drunk. You know what I mean?
The other obvious ones, by the way, Mike Leach. I just don't. I think I'm good. Like I think it'd be fun.
Sorry, next week.
I think it'd be.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you say Mike?
No,
Leach?
go ahead.
I was just gonna say next week. Can we please do wives, coaches' wives?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm in.
Okay. Cool.
Can I do that? That's probably not great.
I just did it for coaches.
That's true.
You're fine.
It's just like
their husbands can be in attendance.
But I gotta just be careful. Like just saying, I'm in though. And the last one I almost picked was Mac Brown. I don't know if I told this story on the pod. I think I've told you this.
Yeah.
Where my baby, I had a young baby and they're crying. Yeah. Mac would be so nice to have a beer with. I don't think it would be that exciting, or interesting, and not in a bad way. I think it would just be very pleasant. Mac Brown would be like, hey Mac, like you want to go down to the old bar and have a couple of Mac would be a great drinking companion.
He'd be like drinking with your grandpa, for sure.
Yeah, Mac Brown, also very high.
I also don't know why I'm hysterically laughing the way you said, my crying baby.
My crying baby? Oh, God. I was sweating profusely.
You were doing an interview. Let's give people the full story.
All right. I thought I've told it before, but
you just were interviewing. And...
This is when he was not a coach. Okay. He was an analyst. And he was a good analyst. So this is pre-UNC.
Oh, God.
And I think this was Olivia. And new dad. And wife is out. And I'm doing an interview with him for, I don't know, God knows what story. My daughter is crying. We're in a small condo. My daughter is crying like crazy. I finally tell Mac, hey, I gotta call you back, or just hold on a sec. And I called him and I'm like, I am so sorry. Like a young reporter, embarrassed. And for like 5 minutes, he like consoled me on being a dad and how good it was that I was doing. It was like one of the nicest moments. Like he was just like, what's your daughter's name? Like, like that. Oh man, grandfather, but it's the best job of Matt. It was just like, oh, you are way too nice to be talking to this young reporter right now. So Mac Brown, I don't have a 2-beer rule. I don't think Mac Brown has a 2-beer rule either. Let's, we can make that happen. So, I guess we have to talk about actual football games.
Yeah, let's look at this week's football games.
Kind of a weird week.
And now I'm nervous to say that, it's going to be pretty chalk. We're going to be all right. It's not going to be chalk according to Vegas because I don't know what you all are smoking, but holy smokes.
So there's not like that crazy must-see game, right? Like I don't want to just I think some of the games are really, really good and I can't wait for, but there's not a game on the card that's like, if you're like not a huge fan of it, like, oh my God, I have to watch this game. I'd say the closest thing to has to be BYU Oregon, right?
Yeah, I would also maybe say Miami Texas A&M.
That's true. I guess that would be the game if Texas A&M didn't shit its pants on Saturday.
But even if it doesn't, this is still a team that, like, if Miami wins, there's a conversation to be had. I mean, we were talking about a lot of other ACC schools, and it's like Miami could really boost its credibility, despite the fact that Texas A&M had a shit loss. It doesn't mean that they're not a team in the SEC, and it's early in the season.
I could tell you, Miami, I don't know if you have a pick on this game. This game's got me freaked out. So I'm happy to opine. Miami is +5, Texas A&M -5. The total in this game is 44.5.
+5? Where are you seeing that? I was looking at DraftKings.
So I'm not DraftKings, but Texas A&M is -5. Sorry, I don't know why we're the underdog. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I literally, when I looked at it, it was, oh no, you're right. It must have updated. I thought it was 3.
It's one of the only things in life that I'm confident.
Well, good thing you said that because
my point spread spotting. Where did it go now? I just said that, now I can't find it. Like they just pull this or something? Hold on.
Because I could have sworn it was 3 when I did it.
No, it's 5. So what the most interesting part of this to me is the total at 44.5. Iowa State total was 40. That game set football back a few years. So 44.5 is not a very big. That's a, yikes. That doesn't tell you a lot of confidence in either of these offenses. Mm-hmm. but the defenses have played well. I don't know what to do with this game.
Yeah.
I'd say the advantage would be Miami because you have a quarterback in Van Dyke. They've been okay. Like, it's so early. They started a little slow, but I don't have a. You're right though. If A&M loses this, have you seen the schedule? Like what happens after this?
Yeah.
It's not great. Hold on. Let's do worst case. Where's the schedule? All right, here's what it is. If I may. You play Miami. It's a 9 p.m. start. Wow. Eastern time, I'm assuming. Then you play Arkansas. Then you play at Mississippi State. Then you play at Alabama. You play at South Carolina, which is no gimme. You play Ole Miss. You play Florida. You play at Auburn. How many? All right. Every single one of those games is losable based off what we just saw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a plausible, like, yikes nightmare season here. There's also a plausible, like, hey, App State was a blip on the radar. We make a quarterback change. Things are not as bad as they were. But the fact that we don't know says a lot about where we are in the Jimbo Fisher, like, renovation plan, isn't it? Like, that's not great.
No, it's not great, especially coming off the year that they had last year. I honestly, when I looked at this game, I was surprised that Texas A&M was the favorite. But then again, like I could see this being like a comeback game where they just knock Miami's teeth in because they're mad about what happened last week. But I don't know. Part of me feels like it might be a yikes version of a season, especially with a coach that has a contract like that. Like, this could be nightmare fuel. Nightmare fuel.
I'm with you there. Now, this next game I think we both have in Picks and Pints, so we don't have to go deep, but BYU Oregon is really fun football game. Really fun football game. It's also the overreaction game. Like, Oregon got their clock cleaned against Georgia. BYU has looked really impressive, and you have to adjust to that and make a decision based on that. So we both have this in Picks and Pints, right? So we can visit that shortly. I know you put down here Florida State, Louisville, and I am so happy that you did.
Yes, because I wanted to discuss because it's also like a weird, quirky game that like I'm not even sure what to do. It's a Friday night, like could get weird, and Florida State running on a high right now. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see how it goes.
I'm kind of buying Florida State.
Me too, which is so annoying. I don't want to.
Louisville, that game last week with UCF was kind of a mess. This is a wonderful gambling game for a Friday night. Is it not? Like, this is the perfect, like, degenerate game on a Friday night.
Drink and watch this game. That is really
yes.
Well, if you're of age, of course. We don't condone underage drinking.
Of course. I mean, I'm drinking on every pod. Like, it's not, I mean, I'm just saying. All right. But I think I just added a play on this. Actually, I think I have to have something in Picks and Pints on the Friday night game. Right? I'm going to be betting money, so I just need an opinion. I'm gonna add this to our picks later on.
Okay.
And then what else? Oklahoma, Nebraska is.
Notre Dame Cal's actually.
Is that a throw up sound? I was looking at point spread, so I didn't actually see the video. Was that a puke sound? Yeah, that was pretty good.
Thank you. Cal, Notre Dame.
What is that line at now?
That is. There's going to be some gross football
11. Like, I have to write on Saturday? What am I going to write about?
If Notre Dame loses to Cal, it's over.
That'll be good. That'll be something to write about. What time's that game? Nice. Afternoon game. Always scout the early games. Auburn, Penn State. We got to talk about that. That mildly interesting. Both teams are undefeated. Auburn has not looked very good.
Yeah, I'm going to go we are there.
Yeah, I think I am too, but that point spread's weird. The home field advantage is weird. Minnesota is a 28-point favorite versus Colorado. This is actually my...
Hold on.
What's that? I gotcha. I can do a little Control F action.
I was looking to see if Duke...
I don't think they're playing.
No, they are.
Are they playing an Illinois team?
I was looking to see if you could still place bets on total wins for Duke because I don't. That would have been a good one to put on.
Jesus.
They could be 3-0. I never would have thought that.
Yeah, the fact that you're asking that question, though, I'm proud of you. Degenerate. Other game, and I could do this if we just had a podcast where all it was like surveying games. Like, ooh, that's cool. Like Maryland SMU is actually kind of an interesting game. One of those two teams is probably going to be ranked shortly. Maryland's a short favorite. SMU's not bad. Iowa, Nevada, please take your family out. Watch a movie. Do whatever it takes. Watch another football game. Don't do that to yourself. How is Iowa a 23-point favorite over like you and I?
Another sneaky good game that I think is going to be really fun is Montana State versus Oregon State. Wow, what is wrong with me? That could be a really fun game. It's on the Pac-12 network, sadly, but wow.
There's a lot of App State versus Troy has some fun potential. LSU Mississippi State is the other game that I'm like I want to be involved in, and I just know that there's going to be football fires and other things. Like, it's just going to be a weird Brian Kelly, Mike Leach. LSU looked a lot better. Like, I don't know. I kind of lean LSU in that game. Like, that ultimately could make the picks, but I'm struggling there.
I avoided that because I watched Mississippi State play, and I don't think they're very good, but I'm just too afraid.
They did not play a very good game.
I'm too afraid to bet on LSU again. So
I live bet Arizona. It did not.
I could have told you not to do that, but
I was gonna. Yeah.
All right, bad. We should get to our week 3 picks and pints.
Yes.
You want to share what beer you're drinking? Your beers?
Sure. Drinking? Yes. So 2 beers. This is from the old good fridge. So first one, 3 Sheeps Brewing. This is Rebel Kent. It's an amber ale. 3 Sheeps is a Sheboygan beer. So up in Wisconsin.
Sheboygan.
Yeah.
Sam
yeah.
Decker,
Sheboygan's wonderful. Very good brewery. Amber, not usually my thing, but we're starting to get into fall, so you're going to see a little bit more of that mixed in. This is more my thing. Anti-Hero. Look at that. It's a guy with a giant hop for a head. IPA. Yeah, very good. Classic. If you're in Chicago or near it, you've had an Anti-Hero. It's just a Revolution Brewing is really, really good, so it's going to be a good night, I have a feeling. I'm just saying. All right, so we have a couple of competing games.
Yeah.
Would you like to start things off?
Yes. I first want to start by saying that you were wrong about Stanford. That's all I wanted to say. Is that
deeply wrong.
I just wanted to throw that one out there. I wanted to discuss that. I did make a slight comeback this week, you guys. It was a lot better, so I'm feeling a little bit more confident. But the first game that we have that's head-to-head is the BYU-Oregon game. I am now on the other side of the fence, and I am taking BYU, and you, my friend, are going with Oregon.
Yeah, this line opened at 3, now at 3.5. Again, I watched, so did you, like that BYU versus Baylor game was a hit fest. Like, that was a grind, a mental and physical grind. I'm just curious what you do when you come back. And I think with Oregon, we got to just properly react. What are you saying? You're looking at me like I said Oregon wrong.
No. Like sweating. Like you looked at me like I did something wrong.
What did I do? Like, so Oregon, yes, it's an interesting line. It's a favorable line. I am digging the Ducks here. And you are obviously on the other side. Yeah, I can't blame you for being on the other side.
I was digging the Ducks at the beginning of the season too.
Didn't go well.
I'm going against what I've already lost. That's really what I'm going with, is hedging on specific teams. Which
I like it.
Hopefully that works out. Let's go to the one we have the same on again, the other one. Are those only 2? No, there's 3. Wow.
Oh no.
But we're not going head to head, but Michigan State, Washington.
I like Washington.
And I like Michigan State.
You've got a team ranked in the top 15 that is getting the points. Washington's a really good home field advantage. This is the problem with this game, too, Paige. Both of these teams have not played anybody, really. So we're evaluating this off the line and the potential. Washington was bad last year. I think the offense is a heck of a lot better. Michael Penix Jr. from Indiana has played great, but
Big fan.
Great against, weak teams. So we'll see. So I like Washington, but you like Michigan State.
Yes. So we're going head-to-head on that one. A game that we're both betting, but different things?
Yes.
USC, Fresno State?
So you're in on the total.
Yes.
I can't believe this. I had to do a double take when I saw the doc. You are going under on the total.
I am going under twice.
I don't even know who you are anymore.
Twice. And you're taking 2 overs. What is happening?
I know.
What is happening? Okay, so I'm taking the under. It's 74. And in my mind, this is going to be a blowout USC. But 74 is still a lot of points.
So Fresno, by the way, we were talking about games played. Like we had BYU and Baylor going on. Fresno, Oregon State was an absolute doozy. And Fresno, who I also live bet, lost on the money line. No big deal. But I did have them the over. Played a really tough game against Oregon State. I think Fresno State's pretty good. And if you want, all right, can I defend my Stanford pick for just a minute?
Sure, go ahead.
So that USC defense is trash. Okay. It's okay, by the way. That's fine. That is not a surprise. We knew this was going to be a work in progress. Stanford was gutting USC early on. They goofed up 2 red zone trips like inside the 5, and I was not happy about it. I think Fresno's going to have some success here. I think this is going to be closer. I think it's going to be a really fun game.
Yeah. I didn't bet the points because I wasn't comfortable with it, but I think I can safely say it's going to be the under. Well, I mean, I can't safely say that.
You're abandoning what brought you here. I'm just saying, I thought you were team over.
I am always team over, but we gotta figure things out.
Change it up. Yeah, no, diversify your betting. You have another under, by the way. Do you want to go to that one too, since you're just team no points?
Team no points. I'm team Big Ten. Team Iowa, really. Toledo, Ohio State. I'm taking the under at 62. Because I don't see Ryan Day doesn't blow up scores. Watch, now he does. But I can see this staying a not low scoring game, obviously, because I think Ohio State's going to kill them. But I still think it's going to be under 62.
All right. Well, I am going to go over, and I am going to go over Texas Tech, North Carolina State. It's now at 54, which is interesting. So it was 55. I don't know. I've been off the grid a little bit today. So I don't know if there's an injury that came out, which is a little concerning. So I never liked this. The line was at 10. Then went to 8-5, now back up to 10. I'm a little surprised that NC State is a 10-point favorite over Texas. Texas Tech has played pretty well. Like that's an aggressive number. So, but I like the over. Both these offenses should be good. Texas Tech's a fun team. Like that. The game against Houston was batshit, by the way. Picked up the 4th and 20. Did you see my guy Dana Holgerson throw his headset in disgust? Like he was not happy. So that, if you're looking for a really fun football game, that will be it. And then, is that it? No, it's not. What else do you got?
I have Miami plus 5. I thought it was plus 3 before we did this, and we
get more points.
But yeah, I think Miami's gonna prove that they're pretty good. Who knew I'd be supporting Mario Cristobal and his move? I mean, thank you for leaving Oregon, but
I like it. I actually do. I think I'm more on that side than A&M.
Yeah.
My last one, Houston, Kansas over 57. I'm kind of excited about this football game.
You were so excited about Kansas.
I am excited.
I can't wait for you to just be checked. Like, it's only been 2 weeks.
I shit the bed pumping up Nebraska.
You really are holding on to your win totals.
Yeah. It's like, yes,
hey,
exactly.
What's so funny is BR Betting, so we've done a little work with them, and they have asked me to troll myself multiple times now, and they have not asked you to troll your picks yet, so I'm waiting for that. I'm going to send them a note today that you need to troll some of your picks.
Well, it's fair. It's deserved. So just to cap it off, again, with Municipal, as part of this, there are a lot of live dogs out there this week. I think there's a lot of live dogs. Tag us, hashtag Game Day Upset. You're going to get a Municipal prize pack of the Game Day gear. Shit is awesome. Again, I'm going to figure out a way to show the shorts out without, getting too revealing and scaring people. and we will do an unboxing, which I'm even actually more excited about now.
Yes.
You can grade my unboxing next week.
Game day. Oh, I will. Trust me.
It's like the draft, like holding up the jersey.
You trying to figure out the screen and which way to.
Yeah, it's gonna be. That's exactly what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like incredibly bad, like entertainment, but entertainment because of how bad I am.
I can't wait, but yes, and also with your upset pick, please put a score for tiebreaker purposes. Yes. But game day upsets. But I did mention that we have been doing some stuff with BR, and we've been doing the live stream for the AP poll reaction. So on Sunday, if you guys want to come hang out with us for a little bit, when the AP poll drops, we'll go live and discuss it. But while we were on our like pre-show call, it somehow came up about your nickname that I had never heard of, that you have friends that call you this.
Yes.
And we didn't get into the full detail of how this came about, but I would love for you to please share this story and nickname.
I have to put a disclaimer first.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a sexual nickname. Okay? This was like when we were, I don't know, 15, which actually probably makes it even worse that it's a very sexual nickname. No. So growing up, last name Kramer, for some reason, friend's brother called me Cramebone. Cramebone, right? So that over time has shortened to just Bone. So a lot of my close friends that I've known for many years, like I just did my fantasy football draft. I don't want to talk about my team. I'm not going to do it. It's fine. But we did the Zoom. I haven't seen my buddies. It's like, oh, Bone, who are you taking? Like that's what brought all this up. So my nickname is Bone. Now, to be clear, it's not sexual. It's also not because I'm a badass or anything like that. It's not a suitable name for me. But it is the name. Bone is my nickname.
I made the joke on our live stream that it's weird because you're not bad to the bone, that's for sure.
No, not at all.
Like the opposite of that, and in not a mean way. It's
not
of all the
nicknames
that I would expect you to have, that was not in the cards. That was not on my bingo card. So I just wanted the people of this podcast to know that
Bone.
I hope people start tweeting you Bone. Like I really hope that the internet starts calling you Bone.
You know, it's one of those names, like, with my name, Kramer has always been, like, everybody calls me, you call me Kramer.
Yes, I call you Kramer. Like, that is your name. Everybody in my family
it is my name.
Knows you as Kramer.
And that is pretty much everybody, like, non-work world is Kramer, which is totally cool. It wasn't Cosmo. It was, like, not one of these dumbass, like, simpleton names. So Bone was, like, it was born. Like, It's weird because now it's so normal that I don't even it doesn't even feel odd to me until someone says yeah, you sure that's your name?
I'm gonna have producer Matt actually add Adam Bone Kramer to your little name tag at the beginning of each episode.
I wear the name with pride. So Bone.
I'm gonna get you a skull t-shirt.
Oh, that's good. No, but it's not that. Like, it's like a dog bone. Like, that would be more appropriate for me.
We'll get you the Pluto dog bone, like the Disney shirt. Yeah, that'll be perfect.
That would be. It would be something less.
That's the kind of bone that a Disney shirt.
That is me. Just like a doofus dog bone. That would be me. Random stuff.
Anything this week?
Yes, I have something.
Okay.
I wanted to ask a dumb baseball question.
Okay.
So they banned the shift in baseball. Right? Like, next year, you can't do a shift.
Yes.
Do you have any thought? Baseball is trying to do stuff. I think the pitch clock that they're doing, which is kind of interesting to speed up games.
Yeah.
And they're using data from the minor leagues to say this is not a bad idea. But the shift is kind of interesting because if you think of, like, football, which we talk about, like, the entirety of the sport is shifting.
Yeah.
The entire sport is positioning. And so I find it really odd that baseball is doing this. I kind of get the intent. I don't want to turn this into a nerd analytics podcast.
Well, I was just going to say, this is like an FU to the nerds. The people that have figured it out statistically. It's an FU to a system that I find very impressive.
I love it too. I think it's cool. If you hire an analytics department that can do all this, don't fucking hit it there.
It's helped teams win World Series. I understand that. I think it's interesting to take that take instead of actually like putting a harder take on people actually stealing signs and knowing what's going on, and
for sure
sharing tips for how to hit off certain pitchers. I find a little bit more of a detriment to the game than the shift.
So that was it. It's a boring, random thing.
Also, it forces it's forced players to get better because they don't want to bat into that situation. Like, if you, like, yes, it's helped on the defensive side, but I feel like offensively it's going to force players to get better and not do the same shit and rely on certain swings. So that I find very odd.
Yeah, I don't have much else random. It's been a very football heavy week. My brain is football centric right now.
Yeah, mine too. And we get like a 2-week break from Formula One. Being a fan of Ferrari is so tough. I know there's like maybe 3 people that listen to this podcast that won't understand. But, still very dedicated to the cause, Kramer. I really hope you join the bandwagon in due time.
I do need to. It's gonna be
a while. There's a lot of football.
It's hard. And then you got playoff baseball hopefully starting up for my stupid baseball team. I'm gonna try.
Well, your stupid baseball team's good, so you still care.
Yeah, but they're losing to the Cubs and shit. It's very annoying. Like, they are good. They're going to be in Milwaukee next week. I'm debating trying to get up to a game. Milwaukee, by the way, is a great baseball venue. Like, great baseball. Wrigley's Wrigley, but Milwaukee's awesome.
I honestly, Milwaukee is on the list of places that I would like to go visit because I feel like it's a very underrated city and sports place to go. I would love to watch Giannis play in person, so I feel like making a trip there, and also want to go to all the ballparks, so I feel like that would be kind of a fun way to go.
That's actually an awesome idea, like getting to all of them, because all the new ones too are so nice.
Yeah,
like Wrigley's not the new one, although Wrigleyville now is really awesome. Like, they've really made it nice and beefed it up.
I haven't been to Fenway.
Yeah, you have been. I have not been to Fenway.
I've not been to Fenway, but I've heard it's like old, so like don't have too much expectation. But yeah, I mean, I go to the A's ballpark, so I feel like it's only up from here,
All right, so week 3, it's kind of weird. This part of the season, as a parting shot, is always weird. You say week 3, then you say week 4, then it's 5.
Hey, then
like,
after
it
that,
snowballs.
it's 6.
I know. I do have one parting shot. So we did our video, you and I, where we're recording. Setup is not that different to what we do for the podcast. We sit in front of the camera.
For the live stream.
Yes, for the live stream. But I did one solo for Alabama, Texas.
Yes.
And the reaction, it was hard. I liked it, but here's what was difficult about it. So it was 30 minutes on one football game solo. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting here just saying, Adam Kramer, blah, blah, blah. And I've got 5 takeaways that I wanted to talk about. I also had to write. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, I got to figure out what I'm writing about. And then, so while I'm doing these takeaways, there's chats flying through a page. Like, we did this together, and it was like, you can manage it. We took, you took breaths back and forth. It was like a 30-minute rapid fire. I don't think I've talked that much in 30 minutes, and I can't tell you how long.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that we're better together.
We were and apparently a lot of people agree.
Yeah.
Like.
Yes, please come watch us on Sundays. We enjoy that conversation in the chat. It's kind of like
I plugged the pod.
They call it the chat.
No, I think I plugged the pod.
I was like, I hate that.
Did I actually do? Yeah. No, I'm not.
I think they call it the pod. I'm like,
I'm not renaming a chat room. Like, I'm not. like from now, this point forward, will be the pod.
Yeah. But I do think it's really fun, and maybe something we'll do for the podcast in the near future. And have live interaction with you guys, because we thoroughly enjoy it. So please go into that chat, and if we see some of the people that normally send us messages on Twitter, bring up the pod in the chat, and we will shout you out for sure, because I'm going to be looking at the live chat on my phone, and not just the one that we get from the producers. But yes, please shout us out. If you've made it this long in the podcast, I love how every time we say we don't have random shit, we do. Please shout out No Punts Allowed, and I will read your BR app username out loud.
It also is. It is an extension of the pod because they want us to just have fun and be ourselves, which is cool. It's. I liked it. I didn't know how much I would like it. It's just like here are 25 teams, and you could just kind of. There's no real structure, and I mean that in a good way, where they let us look at it and say, reacting. We're seeing these live.
Yeah.
Not that much different with what we do here, with very minimal prep, and we just.
Yep.
All right. So with that, for Paige, I am Adam. We will talk to you guys next week.
Dang.